Namaste. I am so glad to be with you on this wonderful, wonderful Wednesday. Yeah, I record these my solo episodes on Wednesdays, although they don't actually drop on the podcast platforms until the following Monday. But for those of you who are joining me live on social media, I want to welcome you especially. And of course, I want to welcome all of those of you who are listening because you are the reason why I do this podcast all the time. Yeah, every week. So, as I say, today is a solo episode, and I am going to be focusing today on the book, The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. And I started this last week's episode, and I apologize for those of you watching on social media. I didn't get to record the video of this, so you'll have to go find it, listen to it, but I'll just give you a short introduction to what it was about. So for those of you who may not be familiar with this book, I highly recommend it. Number one, excellent read. And the first agreement is to be impeccable with your word, and why that is so important, why it's important to speak with integrity, to say what you mean, and because that way people can really come to trust you. And it's also about, not spreading gossip and things like that. So as I said, check last week's episode. It's called Speak with Integrity, actually. So you can check that out. Go to liveloveengagepodcast.com and you'll find it. So this week we're going to focus on the second agreement, which is don't take anything personally. Don't take anything personally. Have you ever done that? I know I have in the past. Yes, I've been guilty of that. And I will say that that's part of my growth. I think part of my growth as a human being and as a spiritual being, to learn not to take so many things personally. But it's kind of, I think a lot of us do this, and there's reasons why. And I think in my case, part of it was that, having a habit of negative self-talk, and then you tend to then believe the negative things that people say about you because, I already have that negative bias. And so that's a lot of, one reason why that, you can tend to believe other people when they say, if they say something. And then that kind of gets back to that first agreement about being impeccable with your word. It's about being impeccable with the words you use on yourself. So if you find that you are using negative self-talk, I encourage you to cut it out. I encourage you to cut it out and be kinder to yourself, because you are a divine spiritual being living a human experience. You are created in God's image. And as my mom, God rest her soul, used to say, God doesn't make junk. So yeah, sure, we make mistakes every once in a while, but that's, we're human, and it's expected. And as long as we learn from them and, vow to, okay, I'm going to do my best not to make that same mistake again, then it's okay. But other reasons that sometimes we take things personally is because of perhaps some childhood trauma. Maybe we were blamed by our parents or our teachers for something, and that again can develop into this erroneous belief that we deserve to be mocked or humiliated. Another thing is maybe you were bullied by your peers. I know I was unfortunately bullied a bit when I was a kid. And again, that just kind of plays along with, then adding to the negative self-talk because people are, teasing you and things like that. Poor self-esteem, anxiety disorders, perfectionism, even all of these things can cause you to have unrealistic standards about how to be. So I'm going to encourage you to don't take things personally. And I have this lovely, I've got a lovely bookmark on the 4 agreements that I have it taped to my desk. And so under this second agreement where it says don't take anything personally, it says nothing others do is because of you. What others say and do is a projection of their own reality and their own dream. So when you are immune to the opinions and actions of others, you won't be the victim of needless suffering. So that's a huge benefit of being able to not take things personally. And the thing is that I think one of as it says here, what others say and do is a projection of their own reality, because you don't know what's going on in the mind of someone else. You have no clue. And so if someone they might be having a bad day and they may decide to take it out on you, and it's unwarranted. So you have to take a step back and say, whew, okay, I'm not sure why this person said this about me today. I wonder what they're going through. And so if you can stop and pause, and that stopping and pausing, taking a breath before you respond is so important, because it gives a chance for your brain as opposed to reacting from that reptilian part of our brain, it gives a chance for our, frontal lobe and the more that human part of our brain to really say, okay, is either true, because that's the thing too. Sometimes someone might have constructive criticism to share, and so at that point you do need that's why you need to take a breath and say, okay, is what they're saying really true about me? If it is, okay, let me take another breath and then hopefully be able to respond and say, thank you for sharing that. I will endeavor to do better. Or if it's not true, then again, you have this opportunity to take a breath and say, okay, thank you for sharing that. I disagree. And maybe you can explain why. Or if the person is really wound up, it might be better to just say, thank you for sharing, and walk away and don't even engage them. Wait for them to calm down. And then you can come back later and say, hey, do you remember when you said so and so, such and such to me? I felt it made me, those words created some feelings in me that were unpleasant. Because I don't want to say it hurt my feelings, because again, we can decide if things hurt us or not. But maybe you would just say, what you said to me, was there a reason? Really, a specific reason why you said that? Because I don't feel it's true. Yeah, that's what you could say instead. I don't feel it's true about me. And I'm curious to know why you said that. And then a couple things might happen. Number one, the person might say, oh my gosh, I didn't even realize I said that. I'm so sorry. Because that's happened. I think I've even been in that situation before where I may have lashed out and then, kind of blocked it out afterwards. Or they may say, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I was having a really bad day and I took it out on you and I apologize. And then you can say, you know what? I had a feeling that was the case. So no harm, no foul. Um, and that's where you really, ask for God's grace to help you through situations like that, because that's what God's for. That's why we have this wonderful connection with source, universe, however you want to call it. Lean on that and ask for guidance to respond. In fact, frankly. Again, when someone says something to you, rather than taking it personally, just stop and pause and say, and quietly in your head, ask God and say, okay, how do I respond to this situation? Because boy, they've triggered me. you know, and then you can add again, will give you the time to calm down and say, okay, whew, maybe I don't need to take this so seriously. I don't have to take this personally. And I can just let it go. So I hope that you will consider that, because it is, again, as it said here, it says, when you're immune to the opinions and actions of others, you won't be the victim of needless suffering. And isn't that really great? Because you don't have to suffer. Suffering is something that we choose to do. It's not inherent in our nature. We are made of love. We have the capacity for joy and happiness. And when we can just hold ourselves immune to things like this, then we can just stay connected to source and just be able to rise above it. I think another good one to hold to is, and I think I might have mentioned this on a past episode, probably a couple months ago, when I was talking about, I had read Michael Singer's book, The Untethered Soul. I've read a couple of his, and I don't remember if it was that one or another one. But he also talks about, really being able to detach and not just respond and react, to really be, to ground yourself and to be more centered and not let the world, dictate how you're going to feel. You get to decide. You get to decide how you are going to feel in any moment. Don't let other people tell you how to feel. Don't let other people tell you how to be. You are the one who gets to decide. So, yeah, so there you go. I wanted to share, because again, I'm, was trying to find, I always share the daily word from Unity in these episodes. And so I was trying to figure out what would be a good one to go with this. Don't take anything personally. And I realized that, let go and let God would be a good one, right? Let go of that, that immediate response that you might have when someone says something that triggers you. So, and to be able to let God come through and be able to give you the grace to respond in a way that will be more appropriate. So I found this one from October 21st, 1982. Just almost 40 years ago. No, more than 40 years ago. That's right, because we are in 2023 now. Wow, can't believe that. Anyway, so the affirmation is, I let go and let God. And it starts off, it says, what does it mean to let go and let God? It means to let go the feeling that everything depends upon us and our efforts. It means to let go the tendency to feel hurt or rejected when there is misunderstanding. It means to let go fearful thinking, to let go anxious concern for dear ones. To let go and let God means to trust God, to know that God is in us and in our dear ones. It means to believe in the goodness of God, to have faith that nothing can stand between us and our good. It means to know that God's will for us is good and only good. To let go and let God is to turn everything over to God, to say, God, here are my needs. Here are my problems. Here are my dear ones. I turn them over to you. What I cannot seem to do, you can do through me. I trust your power. I rely on your strength. And then the scripture reading is from 1 Peter 5:7. Cast all your anxieties on him. So I love that. And especially what really struck me was like that sort of that third sentence where it says, let go the tendency to feel hurt or rejected when there is misunderstanding. So that is that don't take anything personally right there in a nutshell. So and again, turn everything over to God. When someone says something to you that, seems hurtful, or feels, it's like, ooh, because words do matter, and words can, what's the old saying, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Yeah, right. Sorry, they may not physically hurt you, but they can hurt your emotions. They hurt your soul. And so to learn not to take things personally, to learn not to do that is so important. And so again, remember, when someone says something to you that you're like, that isn't true, instead of just responding right away and just engaging them and getting into a battle of, wills, take a breath and turn it over to God and say, okay, how do I respond here? Because I don't believe this is true. I don't want this was triggering me and I need some help. And then give yourself a moment and see what you can come up with, because you will get the right answer. You will get the right answer, and it'll be so much better, because then you will calm down. You won't get the other person stirred up even more, because again, you don't know what's in their head, and you don't know why they actually said that, and they truly may not have meant any harm in it at all. So it's better to give people the benefit of the doubt, right? Rather than reacting. So to be proactive, to think, give your brain time, give your higher self time, and then respond. And you know where this comes in handy too, not just even in direct conversation with people, but I'm thinking also if you receive an email or you receive a text from someone, or maybe someone posts something on social media that triggers you. Oh, I had something like that happen last year, and they took offense to something I posted, and so instead of engaging with them right away, I took a couple days, because I really wanted to calm down and think it through and figure out what would be the best response. And and when I was able to do that, I I did own up to some responsibility on my part, and also saw that they got a little carried away as well. But by giving myself the grace and the time to put myself in their shoes, I was able to respond in a way that was kind and compassionate and that they appreciated. And so we were able to be okay with each other. So again, just give yourself time. Don't react right off the cuff. There is so much. I think so much of the negativity that's going on, the discourse in our world right now, is because people are just reacting instead of stopping and thinking, taking a breath. And our breath is spirit. It's the spirit. It is God. So when we can stop and breathe and allow spirit to come through, it's so much better for us. Okay. Let's see. What else do I want to say today? Well, I think that's pretty much it for this topic. So I will invite you, if you ever want to be able to talk with me a little bit more about this and to be able to get some more guidance, if you'd like to be able to have someone to bounce some ideas off of, I would love to be that person for you. So reach out to me, schedule an appointment, no obligation. Go to engagewithgloria.com, and you can be connected to my calendar and just schedule an appointment. There's no cost involved. It's free. We'll have a chat, and then we'll see if I can help you out. And if it makes sense for us to even, then work together in some capacity, we'll talk about that too. But it's not a sales pitch. It's just a conversation. As one of my mentors says, she wrote a whole book about that. That's called It's Just a Conversation. It was Trish Carr from Women's Prosperity Network. I highly recommend them. Check it out. Okay, so as I also love to do on my solo episodes, is to close out today with a light language message. And for those of you who may be new to the show, if you're just watching or listening for the first time, what is light language, you're thinking? Well, it is a way of communicating. I channel it from the higher realms, and it is a message that your brain necessarily doesn't understand, can't translate it because it's comes out in a language, frankly, that I don't necessarily understand. It's not something that can be translated word for word, but it's something that really communicates with your soul. If you want more information, go to gloriarand.com, my website, gloriarand.com. Look under services. You'll see a tab that says light language. You'll have a much fuller explanation of it there. But essentially, it really is, it's a message of love. And I speak it, I sing it, and it's really intended to help you, to help your soul, and to help you continue to grow. So if you're listening to this on the podcast and you're somewhere, if you're driving a car, I encourage you to come back to this podcast later where you can sit down, relax, and listen to it with your eyes closed. You don't have to close your eyes, but it helps to concentrate. So I will encourage you to do that. And my intention for this message today is to help you to take that breath and to not take things personally, to give yourself, ask for God's grace to allow you to come up with a way to respond so that you can feel more empowered and not get engaged in a discussion that's going to just foment more angst. There's enough angst in the world. We don't need that. We need peace and joy and abundance in our lives. At least that's what I'd like. And I'm pretty sure if you're listening to this podcast or you're watching it, you want that too. Okay. All right. So I'm going to ask my angels and archangels and spirit guides, galactic beings to share with us today a message that will allow you to give yourself the grace to not take things personally. Okaya se hakiha, aikoya se kuhui, akayo no kiha, esoku, ayo no kuyati, oyo no kika, asoyo toshina. Ekayo no kikasea, oshakoria nampia kalniato, akaria no kuyato tuya shakoama, enankoria to tu shakaya tataya kea, hasakonio no koria patia kiatoya, no kiko amanakiyata, he sa no kushina do kuyana, ekanyo no koriata, ikashia no kurata, ekayo ho shikoye. Akakayoshihan, enariato tushiko, alniano etsahe, oshakayoto kuyanakia, osakotuyuna kayakalia totu ishikaya, esana dosu hananeko, anakariato heku, enakoyato ae, esanika hiha. Oshikayetsato, Oshinoku, Hekayoshokoryata Kayata, Hakotoshika Yonokupa Nanakiata, Hesakashikonyana Kueba, Hesakoshi no Kupa, Hikaryototoya Katateya Shakurua. Ea no koyama kadati shikuama, hekatiko iko shakayata kiata. He saku shakanyaka sakanyo no doku ekaya no kuya no kohe hasi ahi kuta hohe otoshi no kohe anyo sato he shoku hochi. Thank you so much for being with me today. I am just, as always, just proud and pleased, and it's a pleasure to be with you and to share these episodes with you. I'm so grateful that you're watching, and I'm grateful for those who've been leaving me amazing reviews on Apple, and it's wonderful. And if you have any ideas for future episodes, especially for ones that I do myself, please reach out to me. You can uh, connect through me through social media, and I would love to be able to hear from you. So just go search for Gloria Grace Rand. You'll find me. And, or again, you can go to my website, gloriarand.com. There's even a little button there where you can, connect. I have this little app called Drift. That's how you could leave a comment there. Oh, and thank you. My lovely soul sister, Andrea, commented on Facebook. So thank you for watching as well, Andrea. So until next time, as always, I encourage you to go out and live fully, love deeply, and engage authentically.